Hi guys, welcome back to the episode of Unreservd. Today we're talking about hustle culture. I'm Brianna and I'm joined by 3 guests today.
Hi guys, my name is Jasmine. I am in music management and personal development. I am turning 25 in a few weeks and I'm really excited to be here to talk about hustle culture.
I'm Erica, I'm 23. I work in public relations and I also do graphic design and website design.
I'm Noor. I just graduated in life sciences. I'm 23 and I'm also working part-time at BMO as well as getting my real estate license.
Nice. So for hustle culture, we'll just jump right in. Basically, hustle culture is like the productivity of young adults. Clearly, we're all in our 20s. I want to talk about family pressures, toxic productivity, and just workaholism. You know what I mean? So first one, do you always feel the need to be doing something productive, whether it be like even before quarantine? Because, you know, a lot of people, because of quarantine and COVID, they decided to like pick up a new habit or just be more productive in whatever they're doing. Or just like beforehand, where you were just a very productive person, always working, always finding something to do. Anyone can start.
Okay, I feel like that's been the mantra of my life. Just work hard, play hard, constantly on the go, never catching a break. And then when COVID hit, actually pre-COVID, I was a flight attendant, so I lost my job and I did have my businesses on the side. But then it's like, now what? What do I do with my time? And I was literally so confused. And it's the first time I ever took a break from anything. But then I found out that, you know what, I need to get back in the rhythm of doing things because I just can't sit around. I'm just like, it's instilled in me to work hard.
To be doing something at all times.
At all times, yeah.
And I feel like the pressure is really intense for me. I was constantly worried about if I'm doing enough or if I'm, especially during quarantine or the beginning of COVID, I was like, am I doing enough things? Like, am I doing enough work? And I was still in school full time in my grad program. So I had to create like a bullet journal to remind myself of the amount of things that I was doing because I always tend to overwork myself.
Yeah, and I feel that because like it was my last year of university, and for me, when I didn't have all these extracurriculars that I'm usually part of or whatever I'm doing, I was like, okay, there's something I need to be doing
like, what am I
now,
doing
so
with
I
my
filled the
time?
void with like extra hours at work or like something else.
So like that kind of leads into my next question. It was basically me just asking do you find yourself setting like unrealistic goals for yourself, or just like trying to push yourself really hard just because you need to be doing something at all times? Like, do you find yourself like even like you said, like you have to like get back into the groove of doing something? Like, do you find that you'll give yourself like a short period of time to like get a goal complete and you know you can't get it complete then? Or
I think pressure can be both good and bad, but it's also like managing expectations, right? You kind of have to look at like the practicality of things too. And so like I think it's really good to set goals and do stuff, but I think it's also good to not give yourself like negative pressure, like, oh, I'm not doing XYZ, I'm not, you know, doing a good job, and then you fall back because once you're like, that's like negative reinforcement. So I think it's important to like when you are setting goals to keep in mind like what you are capable of doing it and doing it in chunks. So like that's something I learned doing now. So building a routine, waking up, morning ritual, setting out my day for success, and then going that way instead of like, oh no, I need to do all of this. No, breathe, take it one by one and just plan it out, pace it out, and then it won't even feel like pressure.
And I found for me, something that was really helpful was self-forgiveness on things. So if one day I'm not able to do something, or if I wake up on a Sunday and I can't do the list of things that I made in the morning or the day before, then it's okay. I can keep going. Recently I work full-time in PR and I also do graphic design and website design. So I was doing 3 jobs at once where I would do a full 8-hour day and then at night I would be freelancing. And I ended up getting sick during a pandemic. I got a viral infection because even though I was sleeping, I was so stressed. And then I go out every weekend. So it was like 5 days of 8-hour days and then work at night. And then I would go out Friday, Saturday, and obviously drinking takes a toll on you and going out takes a toll on you and socializing. So it was just extremely hard and I ended up getting really sick.
Well, they say that, right?
No,
Yeah.
everything I said.
Well, they do say like stress actually affects your immune system. Like worry and
Exactly.
stress can
100%.
actually create like further problems. I've been reading this book by Dale Carnegie and he talks about, I forgot what it's called, like How to Worry Less or something. And he talks about like CEOs and big corporate people in high positions getting really sick, like heart problems. Heart disease is a big problem, ulcers in your stomach and all these other things. So I think it's really important to make sure like you're not putting that kind of pressure on you to the point that you're getting sick.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask like a quick question too, because like you guys clearly had like busy lifestyles before COVID hit. So like even when COVID hit, did you feel like you needed this break, or were you kind of just like, no, I still need to be doing something for sure? Like it wasn't like, okay, let me just take a month or even like the entire time and like me time. Like let me just calm down, let me slow down. Or was it just like, I still want to do something?
Honestly, before COVID, I kept asking, I was like, I need a break. I need a break. Like I kept saying it. And then I thought I kind of manifested. I was like,
that's how I feel,
shit, I did not just wish a pandemic
for me to get a break.
I was the complete opposite because I struggle with the whole self-forgiveness thing. Like if I don't get something done, I'm like, okay, like I need to make up for it. I need to chug another coffee and get this done. Like, and I'll stay up sometimes. So for me, I was like, okay, now I have all this time to finish what I haven't finished. So like I have less time in school where I'm going to waste time probably socializing with my friends. And now I can finish like the courses I need to finish or other things like that. That's mine.
Yeah, I think for me too. I think actually I keep saying COVID is a blessing in disguise because I would have not been able to realize that I was in this constant rat race of like chasing after money and just trying to start this next side hustle, trying to do this and XYZ. And now when I look at it in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, it kind of made me slow down. Like life made me slow down, take a step back, reevaluate everything, and actually come up with a proper game plan that now I can like focus on because I had way too many distractions. I didn't have anything that was like, no, you need to chill, girl. Like relax, breathe, and focus. And so I think this pandemic has given me the opportunity to do that.
To calm down a little bit. That's good.
Yeah.
So because of the lifestyle that you guys have, like the whole hustling, like always working, always doing something, like do you know where it like stemmed from? Was it family pressure or like your friends or just you came up with that on your own? Like saying like, yeah, I want to have something going all the time. You're laughing.
I'm laughing because you said family pressure.
Family pressure is definitely
like,
top
you
one.
got it. Like it's for me, it's like my family has always said, or I guess raised me with that mantra of like, you can do anything and whatever. And so when you put that, I don't want to say power, but when you put that idea in my head as a kid, I would always just do everything I wanted, just do whatever. And for me, that led to kind of, okay, you can do this, and this when you're in school. Have a job that you're working, 20 plus hours. Have a job or get another license. Like get this certification, all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, because my family will be proud. My family will be glad that I'm doing this. Or like they'll be like, oh yeah, I have a talking point about my daughter. So it's like subconsciously, I feel like I do this all the time, which is why I don't know.
Yeah, I grew up with a mom that's a workaholic. So I was basically raised by someone that would work 60, 70 hours a week just in one job. Yeah. And she would be working nights, like doing all these things, especially because she always worked for a global company. So everything would be like, if it's another country, you're obviously calling at like 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. So she would be working every single day.
Like around the clock too,
Yeah,
right?
and I took that as like power for myself, but I never think about the fact, or now I realize she doesn't go out on weekends and I go out every weekend and she doesn't go out for dinners during the week or like do those types of things that are so emotionally and physically draining.
Yeah, but even then, like, not to cut you off, but like you also need that kind of like human interaction to take away from that, like, that busy work week and, the hectic life or the hectic day you just had, like a weekend away or even just like going for drinks or dinner after that really like can pick you up if you're like down in the dumps.
Sorry, I know. And then the more you work, you're like, oh, I could go for another drink, obviously.
Yeah, of course. I think honestly, it also comes from a place of survival. I think a lot of our parents too, like I'm first generation Canadian. My parents came here for a better opportunity, but that didn't necessarily mean they went to school here. No, they got factory jobs. My dad's a truck driver. He still works like 60-hour work weeks, right? So it came from a place of survival. And when you grow up in that kind of environment, you're kind of taking on watching your parents doing that. So you're equating hard work to like, okay, that means I got to level up and step it up to this plate too, right? I got to go to school. I got to get a degree. I got to get a good job. I got to have a successful business because I got to show to my parents that, the sacrifices they make, I got to do the same thing. But to a certain degree, it's counterproductive as well. So you have to be careful with energy management at the end of the day.
And like how much pressure you put on yourself to get all this done, because in the end, like, the same thing I was like saying earlier, if you give yourself unrealistic like goals, you're just like working yourself out just to crash in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Another question, does the fear of rejection or disappointment linger in your mind when you reflect on like your current lifestyle from like family or friends?
Yeah, to a certain degree, but not at the same time. I think it's just in my personality. Since I was a kid, I'm kind of rebellious. Never really cared what people thought of me, like what I did and what whatever. I didn't really care about that. But it does come to a certain point where like in my culture, I'm South Asian. My mom loves talking about, you know, her kids, what they're doing. Oh, Jasmine was a flight attendant. Like, she's doing this. Like, you know, they just need a talking point. And it gets to that point where it's like, if I pay too much attention to what everyone else is saying, then I'm not focused on what I need to be doing. And I just don't care for it. I don't focus on that. I'm like, I'm just going to focus on what I need to do. Gotta prioritize that.
Sometimes I feel that too a lot, especially because I took a very different route than the majority of my family did, because a lot of people stress jobs like in the medical field or being lawyers. They're like, it's more professional and it looks better, so I can tell like our family back home, you know. So I took a more creative field, so I feel like I can't really fail because I went totally left wing and I did a lot of stuff on my own, or they don't think, because I freelance a lot, they're like, that's not a job. Like, you're not doing real work. And then I'll
just like talk on this point, because honestly, I like a lot of my mindset is like from my family, because my family, like, I'm from Jamaica, so my family back home, they're really successful, and they just, even when I was growing up, they'd always like put different like job ideas in my mind, and it was like when I was like, I think 13, I was like, oh yeah, I'm an architect, and they're just like, an architect, Brianna? And I loved like, I loved building myself like dollhouses. I was like really good at it too, and I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And one night, like at family dinner, I was like telling them like, yeah, like I think I want to do this, like I really like it. And they're like, no, you need to go into like medicine or law. And I was like, no. And then by the time I moved to Canada, I really got into law, and I was like, shit, they got into my mind. So now I'm like doing law as like my career. And sometimes I think like even my first year, I took a semester off because I was just like, is this really what I want to do? And I really couldn't make up my mind, because I'm like, am I doing this because of my family? And because I know like I wanted to be proud, because I'm like really close to my family. So it's like their opinion to me does matter. And I do care about like what they think of me. And so, and even like when I go back home now, they like make comments like, oh, you know, make sure you're doing this and make sure you're doing that. And, you know, don't come home so often so you can focus on school and not vacation. And I'm just like, okay, but like I still need to like time off from like everything else I'm doing.
It's like you can never win.
And even like so Ken and I have a podcast now, and we have Unreservd too, and like I'll talk about it with them, and they sometimes they're just like, that's really good, but like you're still in school, right? I'm like, yes, but this is just like extra. So because like they think even like what's this, like social media, whatever, like they don't think it's a career or anything like that, so they're just like trying to make sure I'm not doing anything that like won't make me successful. But at the same time, like
I barely tell my parents anything. My parents didn't even know I went to Remix Project for music business. Like, they don't even know that I manage artists until, like, you know, I told my mom, like, where are you going at 1 o'clock in the morning? Like, I'm going to the studio. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm out. I got to do what I got to do. And, you know, if you don't feel comfortable telling anybody about it, you don't need to. It's no one's business what I'm doing. I'm building, and just... They'll know. I thought like that. I wish. They'll know when they see the results, right? So the results speak for itself. So I just like to say, hustle in silence and just keep doing what you're doing.
That's smart. And I really feel what you just said, because I chose to do medicine on my own, and everyone's like, oh my God, are you doing that because your parents wanted you to do it and whatever? And I'm like, no, like I genuinely could not imagine doing something else as like a full-time career. But then at one point throughout it, I had to step back and think, like, am I really doing this for me? Because my mom would always like ask me questions about it and this and that. It was just totally their right. I mean, okay, I get it, you're my mom, you're concerned. But then it would be adding a pressure to me, and it's like, now, is this really what I want to do? Is this what you want to do? Because it doesn't feel like that anymore. So took away from that.
Because like my parents really don't care. My parents are like, whatever you do, that's you. But it's like my aunts and my uncles, like they're the ones who are always just like, you need to be doing something like good. My parents just like, honestly, whatever you do, as long as it makes you happy and you're successful, go for it. Like, we really don't care.
I feel like they just throw that in there, though, and then deep down, they're kind of like, be a doctor, be a lawyer.
No, not even, because when I finally like told them that I was doing law, they're just like, oh, okay, well, and then I have a lot of lawyers in my family and doctors, so they're just like, oh, well, like, at least you have these people to look up to and whatever, if you ever need someone to, like a mentor, like, you know, you have these options there. I was like, yeah, you know, it's there. And I went home one year, and, like, we're talking, there was, like, some politics stuff going on. And I was talking to my family about it, and they're just like, oh, you have like a good lawyer on your hand, Madeline. It's like my mom. And I was like, see, like even now they're still like trying to like push that, like, you know, I need to do law, or I need to do something in that career. So, oh, hold on, my phone locked. We can move on. So I just want to get your opinion. Like, do you think it's like necessary to have like a strong support system, or is it better to be like a lone wolf? Because like I get like a lone wolf vibe from you.
I think it's both, to be honest with you. I think the key is balance. I think for myself, just how my productivity is, I feel comfortable doing things by myself sometimes, like in my planning phase, brainstorming, mind mapping, all that stuff. I like doing it alone. And then I like working with other people as well. And I think that support is crucial. Like, I mean, I feel like if I had the proper support when I was like, you know, younger, I probably would have like moved faster with what I was doing versus I had to go through a lot more hurdles and obstacles and really just learn a lot of things on my own. Like even with like, this is a side thing, but like financial literacy, for example, like I didn't know a lot about like saving money and like investing and stuff like that too, right? So I think support is always good. Finding a mentor, somebody that's been in that position. Like if you want to be a millionaire, you should be talking to someone that's a millionaire. Yeah. I can't really ask my parents because no offense, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think support is really good.
I did luck out because my parents were, even though my family put a lot of pressure on me, my extended family, my parents were very supportive of everything I did. So my mom's like my biggest fan. Everything I did, she's like, that's the greatest thing ever. So I think that was really helpful for me. And I said this to her on FaceTime this morning. I was like, it kind of made me a narcissist because then every time I think of things, I'm like, oh, but like I'm the best.
I'm amazing.
So obviously,
that's good though.
Obviously,
like that.
Yeah. But that was so helpful for me because then, especially as a woman, when you're in a room, like I find this a lot. So when I work with brands, like right now, one of the brands I'm working with is. So when I'm in like a room with these people, they don't. Yeah.
Just drop that in there.
When I'm in a room with these people, they're obviously like way older than me, and because I'm 23 years old, so like first of all you're a kid, and then they'll be like all men, so like first of all you're a woman. So it's like you always have to step ahead and do more and like be louder. So I think that in general, women should naturally be narcissists.
Yeah. Like more confident, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's really key as well. I feel like we're told to like don't step on anyone's toes.
Like
just
tone it down.
No, be loud.
Yeah,
oh, I saw the best. Like there was a TED Talk where this woman, or like a video, and they were talking to a class of grade 1s, and they said, "Does anybody have any questions?" And everyone put their hand up, and they go, "Wait, put your hand down. I'm finishing." And only the girls put their hands down.
And the guys kept their hands.
It's already instilled in them that they have to listen to what somebody's telling them, and these men or like these boys are standing up and like putting those things out there, and that's something that really fueled me of like I never put my hand down.
Yeah.
Aww,
see, for me, it's the other way around where like I have a really key friend support system. Like I'll come to her and like rant all the time if I have something like that to talk about, because my parents necessarily may not understand whatever I need to have a conversation with them about. And then I have like my extended family. For me, it's the opposite, where my extended family is a huge part of my support system. Like we have an endless number of cousins and like aunts and uncles who are just always there and just always like sit me down for dinner, 5-course meal, and be like, okay, barbecued for you, now tell me what your problems are. Like I got you. And I'm like super lucky to have that, and I think it's super important because I don't know if I think it's brought me where I am.
Aww. And I just want to end this off. Like, do you guys have any advice for anyone like growing up right now, or just trying to decide what they want in life, or feeling pressured by everything around them?
Don't listen to anyone else. You will not be happy if you choose to do something that you don't actually want to do.
I would say learn to filter the noise, because you know what? Like in our time and age, there's so many opportunities, so many things out there. Don't just chase the money. Really think about what you're good at, like what you're passionate about, and go that route. Even if it takes you 5 years, 10 years, or whatever amount that time looks like, don't focus on the destination, focus on the journey, right? Like direction is more important than speed, and just like keep that in mind. And don't try to do something because someone else is doing it or your parents are saying it. Really like look internally and figure out like what resonates deep with you, and find the significance in that.
Yeah, I would say honestly accept things that you deem flaws. So especially if it's something that you think that would hold you back, you have to learn to accept it, because even if you try to get rid of it, a new flaw is going to pop up. And I always tell people that if there's like a bodily thing that they have an issue with, like as soon as you lose that weight, you're going to be like, oh, but I have tons of acne. Like it'll just be something else comes up
every time.
So you just have to learn to accept all the things that you think are flaws.
Oh, to add to that, also don't be afraid to fail, man. Like really just try. If you want to start a business, go do it, but focus on it too. Don't just be like, I'm gonna start a business. No, if it doesn't work out in your favor, just keep it moving, you know? Like I think the most important thing about in our 20s especially, is that we're going to be going through different things, different jobs, different experiences, relationships, friendships, you name it, right?
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to like try something new, and don't be afraid to fail, because after failure comes success. So I think that'd be another thing.
and learn to take care of your mental health like early on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's what
Crucial.
happens to a lot of people, and that's why a lot of, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, so a lot of people that become CEOs or millionaires or whatever, they focus on their mental health first, always. And that's where a lot of people that become like toxically productive, that's where they fall behind.
And one last thing, like I think also knowing what your priorities are and kind of just holding on to it. Like your priorities may be different from your parents' priorities or your friends' priorities, but just know what you value and like kind of go with that, because that'll guide you to what you want and what will make you happy long term.
All right. So thank you guys for watching another episode. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next time. Oh, we're going to wave.